What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2026 movie Masters of the Universe. So, after being separated for 15 years, the Sword of Power leads Prince Adam back to Eternia, where he discovers his home is shattered under the fiendish rule of Skeletor. To save his family and his world, Prince Adam must join forces with his closest allies, Teela and Duncan, also known as the Man-at-Arms, and embrace his true destiny as He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. So this is an awesome movie. I absolutely love this movie. As a kid, I was not like the most gigantic He-Man fan, but I did go through a big He-Man phase. I had a whole bunch of the toys and stuff and everything. They brought He-Man back in the early 2000s, like 2002, from 2002 to 2004, and I was really heavily into it and stuff and everything. I really loved the toys. I had the McDonald's He-Man toys, and then I had a couple of the regular action figures of Skeletor and He-Man and stuff. I wanted to get a lot more of them and everything, but they kind of discontinued them after it ended and stuff. It didn't last as long as they were hoping it was going to and everything, and I don't think it did as good as they were planning on it doing and stuff. But I always have been a fan of He-Man and stuff. I watched the original cartoon some growing up and everything, but I was not like, as far as He-Man, I was more into the toys than I was the actual show and everything. But I always was interested in it enough. I was like, you know, this would make an awesome blockbuster movie and everything, and I've wanted one ever since then. I know we had the one from the 80s, and it took me like 20 years just to see that one and everything, because it was kind of hard to find for a while. And when I finally did see it, I was so disappointed in it. One of the most disappointing movies I think I had ever seen and stuff. I know a lot of people love that one that grew up with it, and I can get it if you grow up with it. I didn't, so I didn't have that love and everything. But I do have a huge nostalgia for He-Man because of watching the cartoon and playing with the toys as a kid and everything. More the toys than the show itself and everything. I never got into He-Man as much as I wanted to, because 2002 was a big year for me on other things and everything. I was really into Peter Pan and Scooby-Doo and Spider-Man, and my He-Man phase kind of came between Scooby-Doo and Spider-Man, and then also I got into Harry Potter not too long after seeing He-Man also. And once I got into Harry Potter, all other fantasy stuff just kind of went away from me and everything, including He-Man. But I will say that this one is a good movie, though. Nicholas Galecki is really good as Prince Adam. I think he really fits the role really well, and he does a really great job. And I think he's also really likable when he's He-Man, too. I think he does a really great job playing this dorky goofball character that is destined for greatness and stuff. And I like that they did that with the storytelling and stuff. They don't do that as much in movies anymore and everything. Because of the MCU and everything, this movie does feel pretty MCU coded and stuff, but it's still pretty, like I said, he's a good casting and stuff. And like, if He-Man wasn't a Marvel character, though, this is like a casting I could totally have seen Marvel choosing. But he did a good job playing the character and everything. Jared Leto is awesome as Skeletor. Like, he's been trying to make a name for himself in big name IP movies for years, and it's always failed, and hell, it's still failing, unfortunately, because this movie is not doing near as good as it should be and everything. But he is awesome as Skeletor. I think he's actually really great. He's obviously having a blast playing the character and everything. He's really a scenery chewing villain, very mustache twirling, but he is great and everything. And there are times where he is still intimidating and stuff. Like, I always felt like Skeletor, even though he was funny and stuff, he also was kind of intimidating as a kid in the cartoon versions the cartoon version from when I was a kid in 2002. The 80s version, he was a lot more campy and silly and stuff, but I felt like Jared Leto did a really great job bringing Skeletor to life and everything, and he was a lot more like the version from when I was younger and stuff. But they blended him with the both versions really well, from what I remember. Like I said, my memory on that is kind of fuzzy. I'm not pretending to be like a die-hard fan of He-Man and stuff, but it was something I always wanted to get more into, and I never really did and everything. Camila Mendez is really great as Tila. I think she's really likable and she has really great chemistry with Nicholas Galetz. I think that she is really good at it. And Tila was always one of my favorite characters too as a kid and everything. I love me a good badass female character. It's always, I've always had a thing for them and everything, and she's always been one I've always liked. And I think that Camila Mendez does a really great job playing her and stuff. She's really, really likable in here and everything. Idris Elba and Alison Brie are also great in here too as Man-at-Arms and Evil Lynn. I think they both really had all kinds of fun playing their roles too and everything. They're both really great in their roles and everything. I think both of them are perfect really and everything. Idris Elba, I never would have expected to be the one to play Man-at-Arms, but he was a really, really good choice and everything. He really brought some humanity to the character and stuff while also being really, really likable and funny at times. Evil Lynn is also really great too. She doesn't have as much to do and everything, and I do feel like there was stuff with her character that was maybe going to be setting up stuff later in the future and everything if they continue the franchise. I do feel like she has a lot more room to grow and everything, but I don't think we're going to get that franchise, unfortunately. But I thought she was good as Evil Lynn, and I would have loved to see what they would do with her and stuff, everything. And hopefully there will be a chance. Maybe the movie will break even, and maybe we'll get a sequel, but I just don't know. The practical makeup effects on characters like Trapjaw and the background villains and stuff, Skeletor's goons and stuff, they look awesome too. Like they have some really awesome makeup effects, bringing the characters to life really, really well. And the CGI is top notch in here. Now, I won't say it's on the same level as Avatar or Jurassic Park or anything like that, but it's great too. And really, it fits in the tone of most fantasy stuff from the early 2000s, like Harry Potter and Narnia and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. I would say it's kind of on par with them, except at times, and then sometimes I would say the CGI is even better and stuff than some of them too, because it is a little more polished and stuff. But I think that the visuals in this movie are really, really great. The costumes look really great too. He-Man's costume is awesome, and one of the best cartoon to movie costumes and I've seen in a long time. It just looks really, he looks really badass and everything. Like he looks really cool. I love the costume. The practical sets are awesome too and everything. There's some really awesome practical sets in here as well and everything. Like I said, there is a lot of CGI, mostly for the outshots of Eternia and stuff, but like when they're close up, they're on really cool looking sets inside Castle Grayskull and stuff like that, that it's practical and everything. It looks awesome and everything. Like the practical effects are really good, and they really blend CGI and practical really, really well and everything, which is very rare to do nowadays, especially, it seems like. I love the lighthearted, campy tone of the movie too. Like, I know that's one thing that I have been seeing a lot of negatives about, is they say it's too jokey like the MCU and stuff, and it definitely, like I said, is an MCU coded movie. It does feel like a movie that takes inspiration from the MCU, but I also don't feel like that was a bad thing. I feel like the MCU tone actually fits He-Man better than it probably would a lot of blockbusters and stuff and everything. I didn't really have a complaint with that. Like I still felt like the moments that had to be serious were taken serious enough. I mean, yeah, they do kind of underplay with jokes and stuff, and maybe also I'm just used to that kind of storytelling because of watching MCU for so long and stuff, that I'm kind of numb to it. But like, I just was not really bothered by the campy, lighthearted tone of it. I would rather that than a more dark and serious He-Man movie. I do feel like they could have balanced it maybe just a tiny bit better, but for this first movie, I think they needed to be lighthearted and fun and stuff, and I think they did a good job with that. I think there is room to improve on the tone in the sequels and stuff, but I wouldn't really say the tone was a negative for me. And like I said, the humor is fun and everything. Like I said, it has some really funny moments and stuff. There's also some innuendos in here that are really kind of crazy. And Skeletor talking about He-Man's sword between his legs and stuff like that, which just totally threw me off and everything. Really funny and stuff. But like, there's also a lot of good adult jokes in this movie too that I didn't expect. The cinematography is gorgeous and everything. At times, it's really beautiful to look at. Like I said, the practical and the CGI just look really great, and the CGI on Skeletor and Cringer are both really good too, especially Skeletor and everything. I think that's where most of the visual effects budget went to, was making him look as realistic and cool as they could and everything. Like, he looks really awesome and everything. But I also think Cringer looks pretty good too and everything. He's your typical CGI tiger, but like I think he could have looked way worse than other. Like a long time ago, he would have looked a lot worse and everything. Like if this movie came out in the early 2000s, that would have been one of the most dated things. Is Cringer's CGI probably would have been way worse and everything than it is now and everything. But I think that they did a good job with that. Daniel Pemberton's score is great too. It has an 80s feel to it and everything. There's some synth guitars and stuff in there that just really make it pop and feel like something from the 80s and everything. Well, the movie also just feels really modern and everything. Like, especially when he's in the human world and stuff, it does feel modern, and that's also going to throw people off too. I know people don't like when stuff feels modern and everything, which is something that has always been like that. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like the stuff that was modern when we were modernized when we were kids, like Garfield and Scooby-Doo and stuff. They kind of do the same thing they did back then with this and everything. But it doesn't really bother me. I think it worked. I expected it to be modernized and stuff, so I knew what to get in, what we were getting going in, and I liked it. I just did not expect to like it as much as I did. Like, I honestly don't really even have any negatives with this movie. Like, it is exactly what I expected and wanted a He-Man movie to be. Everything. Like, I've always wanted one, and I don't feel like I was dissatisfied at all. Like, for wanting this for over 20 years and stuff, I feel like it was exactly what it should be. It was a blast from start to finish and everything. The characters are badass and lovable and everything, just like they were in the cartoons and stuff. The visuals are great. The movie doesn't take itself too seriously, which is kind of a pro and a con. I think it could have taken itself a little more seriously, but it takes it seriously enough and everything, where it also doesn't ruin the movie for me and everything. And I really enjoy it. I don't think it's the most original story. The dude leaves his kingdom and has to go back and fight someone for the throne and everything. We've seen that in other movies, but it just tells it in a really fun way and everything, and it's just a really good time. And it's a movie that we don't really get stuff like this very often, and we probably won't very much anymore, because this movie is flopping hard and everything, which is really sad and everything. It just has too much competition right now. They should have released this at a better time of the year, and I think it would have done a lot better and everything. But for what it is, I think Masters of the Universe is a really great movie, and I would highly, highly recommend it. In fact, I would say, unless you're going to see Obsession, I would highly recommend going to see this movie right now. It's the best one playing and stuff besides Obsession and everything. If you're wanting originality, just go for Obsession. If you want a fun, nostalgic time and everything, Scary Movie 6 is really fun. But if that's not really your thing, if you grew up with He-Man and stuff, I would recommend it. I think you could have some fun with it and everything. If you're not a fan of He-Man, it probably won't win you over, but it is a good time and everything, and I really enjoy this movie quite a bit. So I'm going to say I give it a 9.5 out of 10. Like I said, it's one that I just really, really liked quite a bit. I love this movie and had a lot of fun with it and everything. As someone who was more of a casual fan of the cartoon and stuff and everything, I had a lot of fun with it. Die-hard fans may not enjoy it quite as much and everything. I know that they do change some stuff and everything, but as someone who was just a casual fan growing up, I had a lot of fun with it and got what I kind of wanted and expected out of it. Everything. It was a good time and everything, and I do hope the movie will gain some legs, and maybe we'll get some kind of sequel, whether it's just straight to Amazon or another theatrical movie. I hope we do get something new. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what you think of Masters of the Universe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody. I just want to say thank you for watching this video and everything. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like and subscribe and share this video with your friends and get more people going, help the channel grow. I really appreciate it, and thank you all and have a good day.